The majority of people say that if you want to earn more money, put in more work. Now, while this works to an extent, and while working hard is important, hard work by itself is the worst way to earn more money. The amount of money that you make is directly equal to the amount of value that you can monetize in your 24-hour day. The more value that you create, the more money you will make. The reason why Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates were able to become so financially successful isn't because they're working 10,000 times harder than the regular person. It's because they were able to create more monetizable value than regular people. They did it through building a business and then hiring people to carry on their vision. You don't have to build a business to understand the productivity hacks that the 1% and that wealthy people are using to get the most value out of the 24 hours. Again, I'm going to be doing my video sitting down like this for a little while because I messed up my ankle, but there's 5 different ways that you can start using the same productivity hacks that wealthy people are using. And number 1, this one gets me in a lot of trouble every time I talk about this, is what I call the Netflix effect. If you're not happy with where you are financially, one thing that you have to cut right now is your Netflix subscription, your Hulu subscription, your HBO subscription, and whatever other streaming subscriptions you have. And now anytime I say that, the first thing that everybody says is, Jaspreet, what are you talking about? It's $10 or $15 a month. How is that going to make any real difference in my financial life? Well, you're looking at it at a very microscopic, narrow point of view because all you're looking at is the price, the dollar price that you're paying for the Netflix. But what you're not looking at is the real cost of this Netflix. Because if you're sitting down watching an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of Netflix every single day, and you compound that day after day after day, and then you compound that week after week after week, and then you compound that month after month after month, and then you compound that year after year after year, and then you're complaining about you being broke, well, you can kind of see where if you didn't spend that time watching these random TV shows on whatever Netflix is showing nowadays, well, now you could use that time to do something to earn you more money. I want you to put a value on your time. Like if right now you're making $30 an hour and you're watching 2 hours of Netflix a day, that means your Netflix isn't costing you $150 a year. That means your Netflix is costing you the opportunity to earn an additional $10,000 a year because that's $30 an hour of TV that you're watching when you could have been using your time to earn some more money, maybe even increasing your hourly wage. Here's a few things that you can do that will give you a better ROI, return on your investment, than your time in Netflix. Number 1 is you go to work. Get a second job, or you can work on your own business, or you can work on your own side hustle. Do something that will produce you a direct income. Number 2 is you can read books, especially if this book has something to do with financial education, self-development, business education, investing, some sort of financial education. Number 3, watch educational YouTube videos. This is completely free. Watch videos on financial education, how to increase your income, different business ideas, how to manage people, how to get a better job, how to get a raise. Watch some YouTube videos that will teach you how to grow your income or how to grow your wealth. 4th, you can take online classes. There are classes on anything and everything that can help you to increase your income, increase your wealth. Number 5, go to the gym. If you need some time to unwind at the gym. At least you'll be burning some calories too. Or number 6, spend some time with your family. If you call Netflix quality time where you're sitting there quiet with your spouse or your kids, well, you're not really doing any quality time if you're both just sitting there quietly. Talk to your family, talk to your spouse, talk to your kids. Canceling your Netflix and reallocating that Netflix time towards something more productive will give you one of the best ROIs on any investment that you can make, because now instead of killing your brain cells watching something that's making you dumber, now you can use that time earning more money, learning how to make more money, getting healthier, or spending more time with your family. If you're happy with where you are financially, then go ahead, watch Netflix. Second is eat the toad first. That means do the hard stuff first, get it out of the way, that way the rest of your day is easier. Back when I was younger, I used to make a list of things that I had to do during the day, and then I would organize them from the easiest and the least time-intensive thing to the most time-intensive thing. And then what I would do to feel like I'm getting a lot of things done is I would start with the easiest stuff and then work my way down. And what kept happening was I would do the easiest things, get those out of the way, and I felt like I was doing a lot because I kept checking the boxes. I kept checking off the things that I would do. But then every time I got to the tough stuff, the real meat, the strenuous stuff, I'd always say, ooh, I'm kind of tired now. Maybe I'll save that for tomorrow. I'll save that for the next day. And then what would happen? The next day came, and now I make my new list of things to do. I got my easy things first, my quick things first, and now I got my hard, real, substantial things that I gotta do. And then I get tired before I get to do that again. And now I keep putting off the most important things. That way I keep doing the crap work, the easy work, the simple work, but I never get the real work done. Now it's completely flipped. I start with the hard, the most important, the most strenuous thing, and I get that done first. For me, that is making YouTube videos. Making YouTube videos is pretty intensive because one, I gotta make sure all the scripts are done and all the work is done. And then typically I'm standing up, I'm in my recording room, I got my whiteboard, and I gotta go and put in a solid couple hours to record every single day. Now, obviously I'm doing it while sitting down because my ankle's a little twisted, but what I do is I don't do anything until I script and record my videos. So I start off the day, I put in the work in my videos, and then I start going down the list of the easier things, because when I'm doing more of just my thinking stuff, that's a lot more easy and less strenuous on me. So I do the recording first and everything else after. Now what I've done is taken it one step further. I use food as a reward. I love food. And so now what I've done is I don't allow myself to eat until I finish up a certain amount of tasks. So I'll write down on my notes, and I make a list every day of things that I gotta do, but I write down the things that I gotta do before lunch, and I don't allow myself to eat until I finish up these tasks to keep me motivated. And sometimes I'll put food at the end of the day. That way now I won't eat lunch. I gotta finish up everything before I get to eat dinner. The third hack is don't do what you can pay somebody else to do when you're ready to pay somebody else to do it. Because I used to hear this a lot, that you should pay somebody else to do the things that you can pay somebody else to do. That way you free up your time. But if you do that early enough in your career or entrepreneurial journey or whatever it might be, now you're going to pay somebody else to do something that you could have done yourself. And now you have a whole bunch of free time because they don't know what else to do. So now you have less revenue or less income because you're paying somebody a piece of your revenue to do some of your work. And now you're just sitting there on your hands trying to figure out what else to do. If you have something else to do to be more productive, then do that. But if you don't have something else productive to do, then you got to be doing the work for yourself. When I started off making YouTube videos, it was a hobby for me. I wasn't making any money. I didn't plan on making any money. So it didn't make sense for me to go out and hire an editor in the beginning because, well, this was just a hobby. Why do I want to spend money on something that's not going to make me any money? Then when I started making money on YouTube, I still didn't hire an editor because I was working on some other entrepreneurial ventures, but I had the time to edit. And if I wasn't editing, I didn't know what else I would be doing. I would have just been sitting there on my hands. And so I wanted to save that money for myself. So I paid myself to do the editing. Then once I started to grow, I started to build other entrepreneurial ventures. I started to build my own businesses. I started to become more busy. Then I hired an editor. Now, when I had an editor, I paid somebody else to buy my time back, and then I had more time to do other things. Then I began to hire writers. That gave me more time back. Then I hired tech people. That gave me more time back. Then I hired more and more people, and that allowed me to have more time to do things that only I can do, where other people cannot. But you have to work your way up, because if you just start hiring people in the beginning, like what some people say, you're gonna be out a lot of cash. And that cash can be used for yourself to build your savings, to build your investments, to build your wealth, to have money to invest in other business ideas, to do whatever it is that you wanna do. So you wanna save as much cash in the beginning, but you also wanna understand when it's time for you to let go and now hire people. That way you can grow that cash. See, if you're sitting there and now you're limiting yourself because you're saying, oh, I don't want to pay somebody to do my editing. I don't want to pay somebody to grow my business. I don't want to pay somebody to mow my lawn. I don't want to pay somebody to fold my laundry. I don't want to pay somebody to get my groceries because I don't want to spend that money. But your time could be used better somewhere else. Now you're losing. Now you're being cheap, and now you're wasting your own resources when you could be using your time to get a better return. But if you don't have a better return and your time would just be used sitting there watching Netflix, doing something that isn't producing any return, then you can do the work yourself. But once you figure out a better way to spend your money, to spend your time, that is when you got to pull the trigger and hire people to buy you your time back. That way you can do the most productive things with your time. That way you can produce the most value out of your time. Like what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. All of us are given 24 hours a day. We're all given the same amount of time. Now, the thing that determines how successful you will become is how much value you can produce. Not everybody's going to be a business owner. However, you can be more productive with your time and do more things with your time that's going to produce you the most value, whether it's more time learning, whether it's more time earning, whether it's more time enjoying, whether it's more time being healthy. You got to figure out whatever that productiveness is, but you have to be willing to invest in the thing that's going to give you more time to do more of the things that you need to. And if you are an entrepreneur, you're a founder or a business owner, and you want to stay up to date on what's happening in the latest business trends, you can join Business Briefs, which is my free newsletter for entrepreneurs, for free, because every day my team is breaking down what's happening with the latest business trends. You can read it in less than 5 minutes every morning. So if you want to read Business Briefs for free, I'll put the link to how you can join down in the description below. Number 4, this is where the real wealth comes in, but own something bigger than you, because there's a limit to how much you can do, but there's no limit to how much you can own. If you're paid based off of how much you own, not only do you have an unlimited earning potential, but you also get some tax benefits as well. If you're paid based off of what you do, there's a limit to how much you can earn, and you're also going to be paying the highest taxes. Just look at the numbers. 98% of earners are making under $206,000 a year. If you want to be a multimillionaire, you want to be super rich, you want to be part of the elite wealth class, you're going to have to do something a little bit different, which means you might need to earn more money. Now, if you can't earn that from your job, then maybe you need to own something, because when you're just working a job, the only thing that you own is you and your own labor. But if you own the business, you own the entity, well, now you control the ownership of the business, and there could be hundreds of people, there could be dozens of people, there could be 2 people, there could be millions of people working in this entity, working to grow your value. When people work for Tesla, they're working to increase the amount of value that Elon Musk owns. When people work for Jeff Bezos, they work for Amazon. When Jeff Bezos was the CEO, they're working to increase his value. Actually, even though Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO of Amazon, he's still one of the largest shareholders, meaning owners of Amazon. So when people work for Amazon, they're working to increase the value that Jeff Bezos puts out. Even though Jeff Bezos isn't working at Amazon, he owns Amazon. You can think of this ownership as a new person, and there's no limit to how much this new person, this business, can produce, can put out, because now there can be other people working within this entity. If you can own it, now you can increase the amount of value you can put out. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. One is you can build it. The second is you can buy it. Now, on a ton of videos, I talk about how you can buy these types of investments. I talk about how to invest your money, whether stocks or real estate or whatever it might be. When you invest in the Amazon Corporation, you become one of the owners of the Amazon company. But that requires you to have money in the first place. If you want to get money, then you're going to have to create a company. It doesn't mean you have to create the next Amazon, but you can create a side hustle. You can create a business. You can create a business idea. You can create something where now you're working to build this entity. And in the beginning, it's going to be all you. I've been there. You got to put in the work to grow it, to get it off the ground, to make your first dollar. It could take you 2 years to make your first dollar. But once you learn how to make your first dollar, now you can just keep repeating that to make your first $100. And you keep repeating that to make your first $1,000. And you keep repeating that to make your first $100,000. And you keep repeating that to make your first $1 million. And then you can just keep scaling and repeating what you're doing. But it takes time and the effort, and most importantly, the risk. And this is what holds so many people back. They see the risk. Oh man, if I start a business, I don't have an income. Versus if I have my job, I have the stability of my paycheck. If I have a business, I don't know what's going to happen. And so what you can do is start your business while you have that stability. Start it with the cushion. Once you're ready, then you can quit your job and work on your business full time, but you have to be willing to start. And everyone gets in that analysis paralysis where you're just like, oh, what happens if this goes wrong? What happens if this goes wrong? If you keep thinking about what's going to go wrong, well, then you're going to psych yourself out. Every business idea has issues. But once you start, you'll figure out how to solve those issues. Maybe you pivot. Maybe you start a new business idea. Maybe you realize this business idea sucked, but you're never going to know until you start. And this is where understanding that if you really want to achieve that level of wealth, you can't just do it by yourself. You're going to need more people. You're going to need more talent. You're going to need more brain power. But you're going to have to be able to rely on other people being productive to increase the amount of value that you put out. Because there's a limit to how much value we can put out. But there's no limit to how much value our entity can put out. And this is where now you have to understand that if you are willing to put in that work to grow that brand, now you can increase the amount of value that you're putting out, which can increase the amount of wealth that you achieve. Now, if you have a business idea, you also want to make sure that you protect it because, well, there's a lot of lawsuits out there of people trying to go after other people's business ideas, people trying to go after other people's names. I know when I started the Minority Mindset, someone tried to sue me claiming that they owned the name Minority Mindset. Luckily, I had already filed a trademark on the name Minority Mindset, so I was protected. But this is where you want to protect yourself, protect your brand, protect your idea. If you have a product idea, get a patent. Now, if you want some resources With this, you can check out Buzz Legal. Buzz Legal is my law firm that I created to help people, entrepreneurs, protect their business ideas. If you want to check it out and see how we can refer you to a good attorney who can help protect your idea, you can go to buzzlegal.com, and I also got the link for you down in the description below. And number 5 is just be focused with your time. This one is one of the simplest changes that everybody can do. Inc. magazine put out a study that the average American who is working 8 hours a day is actually only being productive for less than 3 hours a day. That means the rest of the time, the average American who is working an 8 hour a day is spending time on their phone, they're spending time on social media, they're talking to people, they're walking to the bathroom, they're doing random things where they're not actually working. If you want to get more done in your 24 hours, just get more stuff done when you're actually working. And there are so many simple hacks that you can use to help you do this. The first thing that I would recommend that I do is put your phone on Do Not Disturb. I keep my phone on Do Not Disturb all the time, especially when I'm working. I'll put it on full Do Not Disturb and I'll put it away from me. Second, when you're working, put your tab, whatever you're working on full screen. That way you're not bombarded with notifications. You don't accidentally want to go and check out Facebook. You don't want to accidentally check out what's happening on the news. You keep whatever you're working on full screen. Third, turn off the TV. Turn off the distractions. Keep yourself focused. When I was studying for the bar exam, I kind of took this to an extreme where I knew I hated studying. Studying, especially for the law bar exam, it was just such a burden on me. What I used to do was I used to go to the library. I didn't have an office back then. And I used to go to the corner back part of the library where there was this little seat in between 2 bookshelves. And it was in the back part of the library where nobody would ever go. It was completely quiet. And all you have is this little seat, this little bench, and then 2 bookshelves and a wall in front of you. It was almost like a box, like you're in prison. And that's where I would go to work. I would put my phone on Do Not Disturb, put it in my bag, that way it's not even near me, put up my books, so I have no technology, no distractions, and if I look up, all I see is a wall. If I look to the left, all I see is a wall. If I look to the right, all I see is a wall. If I look up, all I see is the ceiling. You're literally confined where all I could do was work. And I wanted to get out of this as fast as possible, so I would do my reading, do my practice exams, do my practice, whatever I had to do in that time, because I did not want to keep dozing off or doing whatever, because I wanted to get out of there. Force yourself to work. That was how I forced myself to work. Give yourself rewards. For me, it's food that I don't eat until I do something. That way now you're forcing yourself to do things. Because if you're constantly distracted, if you're constantly taking breaks, if you're constantly doing other things, now you're not being productive with your time. Now, you can take breaks. There's nothing wrong with taking breaks. You should take breaks, but just make sure you're taking breaks at the right time and you're earning those breaks. Earn whatever breaks, earn whatever rewards that you're putting out for yourself. Just earn it. Yet you have people in this world that are making millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars a year. How are they making that? It's not because of what degree they got. It's not because of what job they have. It's not because of who their parents are. It's because they created this equity, and that's what they worked for. They worked to create and build and grow this